So this is the RDA week review video number 3, and this is just like the ribbon, the finished like garnish on the end of the dish, like the stamp, the seal of completed approval. Like this is it. This is that Friday finishing touches. And once again, whenever you start something, whenever you begin any endeavor, anything really, you want to understand what are you bringing with you, because something's got to get left at the door when you're starting a new endeavor, because those things that you bring with you can actually hinder your progress in whatever it is you're trying to do. So sometimes you come into the trading game with all these preconceived ideas that you just thought up, or that you've seen on social media, or that you heard from the world, or whatever, wherever you've seen it, a book, a blog, a course, a video, a YouTube thing, a seminar, a webinar, whatever it is. That stuff is going to affect the way that you see the market. You see, like that something is affecting your perception. So you have to clear that all out. And that's, in a sense, you're trying to get to a clear perspective on something, a clear view, an unbiased view, an undistorted perspective, something that has not been tampered with. You're trying to be the first person. You're trying to recreate, like, you're the first person to ever lay your eyes on this thing. You're the original thinker here. So become independent right there. And then from there, you should be able to. I'm walking you through the way that I've revealed it to myself, by the way. This is how it was. I realized that what I knew was complete garbage. And once I got there, I got to a ground level, and I was like, whoa, what is this? All this stuff is out of my head, and I'm starting to see this stuff. Like, out of nowhere, I started to see that there was a time axis, and I was like, dang, that's kind of cool. I just always seen double bottoms and triangles and stuff. I never even thought about looking at the time axis. Is there anything to it? You see, but I didn't get to that position until I let go of all of those things that were affecting my perception. So that's why I started you where I started, you guys. I'm trying to get you to exactly how I arrived to this understanding. I let go of all the old knowledge, and I got to a bare, clear view of what it is I'm looking at. And I arrived to the foundations of the chart, and I saw it, and I'm like, whoa, there it is, X and Y. And then I started to see it, since time is a thing, and I started to ask questions like, well, how does time work? And it was cool because it was like, because of time, I'm able to like experience things, because through the passage of time, I'm able to see things unfold. That right there alone, you need to replay that and just contemplate that. That alone is amazing. Like, you could watch yourself grow over time. I could watch my daughter grow over the years. She's going to transform right before my eyes. It's amazing. I forgot how I got there, but time driven. That's why, because I started to see like market movements were time driven because it was on a time axis. So that's why I got to that teaching. And I was like, whoa, okay, everything here is located in an area of time, and it's building out these points in price. And that's how I get to, getting from the foundations, I learned that time and price is actually the borders and drivers of the data feed. That's the mechanics of the market printer. It's time and price based. The time axis allows it to flow to the right, and the pricing axis, the y-axis, allows the pricing to move up or down, like such. So this is one daily candle, one daily time frame, from one line here to one line here. And because of the passage of time, you're able to see price move from left to the right side of the screen across this daily time frame. But you're also able, because of the y-axis, you're able to see the highs and lows that it makes throughout the day while it's passing through time. See, when you see it that way, what you're doing is you're really, really looking at price move. When I tell you to look for double bottoms and stuff, you create gaps in your reading of price. It's like your brain starts to ignore huge chunks of it and can only see double bottoms. See, so you start to ignore the thought stream, the data feed. You start chopping it up and only looking at these shapes and gimmicks. And that's not good. But with time, you have everything connected. Everything is part of the storyline. Everything becomes opportunity. Everything becomes information. It's way different that way. It's such a pure way to look at the chart. And that's the whole point of the foundations. It's so powerful to understand the time sensitivity, the borders of time and price, because you get to see candles as the ranges that they are. You understand that candles display an amount of time occupied, an amount of distance occupied. So it's like a range or a boundary that has been set by time and price to produce a candle. The candle's high and low is what sets and determines and defines what a price range is. Any information that goes from high to low or from low to high is called a price range. Okay? And then typically for a candle, from the open to the closing points of those candles, those are really mostly associated with the start time and the end time of the process. Every single point has a time and price coordinate, but the high and low is what defines the price range, and the open to close is specifically what defines the time range. Does everybody understand that?
Absolutely.
So because X and Y exist, you have a field of numbers. All potential numbers exist. And because now time ranges exist, now you put boundaries on them. So you create pockets of time and price. Now it's like data or price. Open, high, low, close bar can now occupy those pockets of time and price space. That'll make sense in the recording. You're going to have to rewind it because if not, I'm going to trip up. So anyways, now that the candles have a space to fit into, it prints on your screen through the passage of time or through the use of time. So because it's passing through time and passing through space, it's measurable. You can perform what's called raw data analytics. You can measure, you can note points of price points and time points. And then because you can note multiple points, you can connect those points with lines. You can attach these points together with what's called a line, and that line is measurable. You can measure the length of the line, and what you're measuring is the amount of time it took to get from one point to another, or you're measuring the distance that it traveled from one point to another. And what you're trying to collect is enough data to see if there's a consistently reoccurring rhythm or pattern to how the price behaves and moves. It's not about the W's and stuff like that. That's what you're trying to touch. You're trying to touch the rhythm of the market. You're trying to touch the heart, the engine. You're trying to see what drives it, the time and price factors that govern it, and you're trying to exploit that. Its own design. Like the market cannot run from its own design. It's time and price governed, and it has to build open, high, low, close bars. With that understanding, you could rip this thing up for everything it has to offer. The more you understand purely what it's showing you, the more you understand what opportunity is. The more you ignore it and you fantasize on what all these people's concepts and cute little titles and gimmicks mean, the farther away from the truth you're actually getting, like when you could just be studying directly from the charts themselves. And that's what raw data analytics is. Any comments, questions, or concerns about the flow of thought from numbers 1 through 6?
That was very
like
thorough.
how everything builds on top of each other.
Whew. Yeah, you seen that? It kind of just like flowed together. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, dang. I'm glad I had these little points here.
No, for real.
It carried me, I gotta say. I didn't have no scripts, bro. I don't do that. I got points. I'm governed by points.
And I think that's important to us to this thing as well. You don't just have random points. You don't just have random points. You have everything that's individualized actually building on top of each other, something so thorough.
Yeah. And I do that for everything. Like, even if I'm like saying like a chat with other people and stuff, I make sure that whatever points I bring up are straight to the point. That way it's like I maximize the time with everybody, and I'm making the time effective, like with quality questions that have to do with the topic and that bring more clarity to the subject. You see what I'm saying? So it's like a principle applied in a different way, but That's how I do it with presentation as well, because I have to clearly present a point to you guys. And then what I'm doing is presenting to you the experience I underwent of how price revealed itself to me in those little increments. I'm revealing it to you the same way it was revealed to me.
It's funny because I think the industry tries to teach you things that you should value, but values based on opinion. It's very subjective.
Super
Whereas these are principles. There's no subjectivity to it. It's completely objective. It's things that,
undeniable.
are undeniable fundamental truths.
Yeah, you can't fight them. Even if I could disagree with them, but I'd be off. And that's the cool part. Like it's right on its own, and that's why I love it. Like nobody could blame me for nothing. I didn't make it up. That's just what it is. And that's what I love to teach, man, because it creates stable students because they're learning stable teaching. And maybe some traders are actually like pretty good at trading. They just might be really bad teachers. I'm not kidding. Those are entirely two different skills, man. Way different skills. But anyways,
I feel like they're unconsciously competent.
yeah, you think maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Like they're doing something, but they don't know how to explain what they're doing, nor do they.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, and that's what makes them bad teachers.
Yep.
I got you. But anyways, like I say, 1 through 6. Was that solid? Do you guys say that got the stamp of approval?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sold. Let's keep it going. So that was the gavel. Sorry. All right. Market theory. What we just went over was the mechanics. This is the theoretical side. This is like the why does the mechanic appear the way that it does? And it's because of the theory that drives it basically is that this is a digital marketplace. It's a digital store. So the whole purpose of markets is to facilitate trade. Trade is the successful transaction between two parties. Those two parties being a buyer and a seller. One is like a giver, one is like a getter. One is like a plug, and one is like the outlet. One is like, well, I'm not going there. Never mind. But you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like one's the giver, one's the getter. And that's how it works. It's like a puzzle that fits. One goes into the other, one receives the other. So every trade has to make sense. Whenever you're buying, you have to be aware of the presence of selling where you are buying. Doesn't that just make sense?
It does.
Because that creates successful trade. That creates a successful transaction. Successful transactions happens between a buyer and a seller coming to an agreement, right? So if a seller is selling and you are buying at a certain price, then there's a good successful trade there. Now, every time you trade should make sense. I say should because not everybody has trades that make sense. All right, they buy in areas that's rich in buying activity instead of selling activity. You want to be buying where there's a lot of selling activity. You want to be selling where there's a lot of buying activity. And that's the whole thing about market theory is understanding what is trade, what's trading activity, what's a marketplace, what's the purpose of the market, who's who and what's what. Like the buyers, how do they think? What's bad for them? What's good for them? The sellers, how do they think? What's good for them? What's bad for them? How do each of them win? How do each of them lose? Right? How is one rewarded over the other? If you understand their ins and outs, you understand their roles, you're going to naturally adopt the correct buyer mentality and the correct seller mentality. But also, if you understood how the buyer and the seller thought, if you understood how they thought, then you understand how they behave. And how they behave, it's like they place orders into the marketplace. Those orders are buy orders or sell orders. So based on the data feed, you can actually see how the mass psychology is thinking, which means you understand how are they positioning their stops, which are pending orders, their stop losses. Those pending orders are buy orders or sell orders. When the market price gets to those areas where those stop losses are, it activates or opens up those orders and allows you to deal with them. And then out of that, a reaction should occur and a price move away from those areas is what you should see. And that is when you really start to understand the theory behind this. Is now you stop seeing all the little gimmicks and all that stuff. You really just start to see where orders are and where the market is going next, what orders were just taken. You start to see the trading objectives more than just like highs and lows and time and price. You actually start to see through all of that. You start to see the full coherent put together picture. It's kind of like in the movie The Matrix, when the guy was seeing the code and he was telling Neo, he was like, yo, I don't even see the green little shimmering dropping symbols. I just see what it is. He saw the people that were in it. He was describing like the women he was seeing. He said, I see a brunette, there's a blonde, this and that. Us looking at the code, we can't read it like he can. So we just see the shimmering green dropping symbols, right? All of that stuff looked foreign to us. But because he understood what it was saying, he was able to see right through that, and he was able to see the blonde, the brunette. He was able to see the activity that code was actually generating, right? So the same thing for you guys. When you actually are able to put this stuff all together mechanically and theoretical and experientially, you're gonna see right through it, and all you're gonna see is orders. All form of whatever you think is complex, it goes out the window. Like all this lines and stuff, you don't need it anymore. It just becomes, where's the nearest batch of orders that I can get in with, and that's it. As soon as I open my computer, as soon as my display kicks on, I'm already able to see where I'm at. Like that's how it should be. You should be able to read where the market's at. Right now, the market's in a giant basket full of buy stops.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that is showing me. And it's magnetically attractive to the highs up here. So if these highs don't get taken and the market comes down here and makes a low, it presents a buying opportunity to go after the orders up there.
Mm-hmm.
So see how understanding the market theory plus the mechanics allows me to project future price action, because I understand how it works and why it works and why it should work a certain way over another way. And with that being said, that's pretty much the gist of why I teach mechanics and why I teach theory, and then why I upload them into your mind through the use of the install program. So right now, with the last 5 minutes, I'm gonna leave it to you guys. Leave whatever you want to leave on the recording, questions, comments, concerns, anything. The last 5 minutes are yours. Go ahead.
Just this week alone, I feel like I've gotten so much understanding, so much clarity. And now I can focus on what's actually there, what's real. That's all I gotta say for that.
I know what you mean, bro. I know what you mean.
Edgar, I have one thought in relation to all of this. I know you like to give credit to the source of the information in relation to the charts, and that's where you learned it from. But I'll be honest with you, the way that you've curated the information to be able to explain your thought processes and what you've learned from it, it's top tier. I'm sorry to say that word, but it's just like the person that comes to mind. It's like it's amazing just seeing this class versus even the previous class. This is beautiful, like, and it's so easy to understand and comprehend. Like there's no stone left unturned, even in just this first week. It gets me excited to even think about what's to follow up the next upcoming weeks, because this has just been amazing so far.
We're gonna add the layers, fractility and stuff next week.
Like after this week, to be very honest, I can't even imagine what's next. I feel like there was Like everything we need, it's already in this week.
Oh, that's true. I mean, that's definitely true. I'm gonna just like I said, I'm gonna just show you how to layer it like a cake with the fractals, and that's pretty much it.
I'm excited, man. I'm energized. I'm ready.
And I'm gonna get so many people in the next receipt. It's not even funny.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Hey, Edgar,
Yo,
you think you're gonna do any afternoon sessions this course or this class?
bro, this July, my plan is to like feed you till you don't want no more because I'm planning on like I gotta distribute this July as like a replay, like because the value in it is tremendous, and I gotta make it like available for purchase. So I'm gonna really overload you guys, and it's really so I can have a lot of content, a lot of value to put into like one package, basically, if you would. So
Honestly, I didn't think you
in other
have to
words,
really be present in the class. Even just watching the replays, it's so thorough.
that's what I'm trying to say. It was too on point, and I seen it just off of the second day. I was like, okay, I see where this is going. I really need to capture this one because I don't know what it is. July just got it going on.
Okay.
Yeah. So in other words, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just teach. I might even throw in some Saturdays, and usually I don't teach Saturdays.
What?
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yo, I will not miss one.
I'm down.
My baby's trying to eat this chair, yo. I don't know what to do. I got problems, man. No, you can't eat that. That's wood.
But sometimes with babies though, I'm sorry for this to be in the recording, but sometimes with babies, like the only way they can figure out is by putting something in their mouth, like what it is, like what it do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
so
Nah, man, you'd be surprised though. It's just like my baby though. She just eats it. I don't know. It's like you would think she figured it out by now.
Yeah.
It's a chair, girl. You don't see me chewing on furniture. Chill.
Oh man.
Babies are
But-
cute, man. I really recommend it.
In the right situation. In
in the right situation.
In the right situation.
Definitely be stable and a provider, you know, like be about it, but it's really rewarding. It's awesome.
Facts. I can't wait.
Hey.
Mm.
Well,
But yeah,
it's about to cut us off. Is that it? The review? That's done?
yeah, it's
This
pretty
be it
simple.
for the review, but we have a part 4 potentially. Just saying.
Absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
What
Thank
was
That's
part
always
two?
the question.
So that was officially week 1's review. Complete, gavel, hit, done, I'm out.
Right back.